on the last episode of Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, that's right, we were discussing RFK Jr. laying off everybody from the CDC's vaccine panel. And people were wondering who, pray tell, would be on the list of individuals that are going to get named to this list. And we already have 8 names of individuals who will join the CDC's Independent Vaccine Advisory Committee just 2 days after he fired everybody else. Everyone. And the people who he nominated or who he's appointing or whatever are people who you would have expected the anti-vaccine champion RFK Jr. Shouldn't say JFK Jr. That's just a tarnishing JFK's name and JFK Jr.'s name for that matter. So there is 25th of June, they're having a meeting. He referred to these people that he has appointed or nominated or whatever as highly credentialed scientists, leading public health experts, and some of America's most accomplished physicians. Do we believe him? Of course we don't believe him. One of the people included on this list is Dr. Robert Malone. Now, do we want to watch Dr. Robert Malone and all of the stuff that he has to say? I think that if I were to actually post stuff that Robert Malone has discussed and actually started playing the videos, my videos might get tagged by YouTube for misinformation. Let's see. Dr. Robert Malone, Pfizer video from Project Veritas, proudly disturbing. So we already know from this very first non-sponsored video, which was that Dr. Robert Malone believes Project Veritas, i.e. James O'Keefe, who has proven themselves to be not trustworthy when it comes to the data that they get, because when they show you videos, it's usually highly edited to show disinformation and to make you think that something happened that didn't really happen. What's the next one? The Maha podcast, the Make America Healthy Again podcast, so clearly that's not going to be biased whatsoever. Dr. Robert Malone reveals the truth. Big Pharma lies, mRNA danger, and CIA manipulation. Is this somebody we want in charge or having a say in the vaccine advisory committee or whatever that Musk is now trying to reform now that he fired everybody else? I don't think so. The second sponsored ad here, Dr. Robert Malone, mRNA vaccine inventor, on latest COVID-19 data. The site that is sponsored is the Epoch Times. Definitely a totally believable and not, misinformation website whatsoever, right? The Epoch Times. Yeah, get out of here. What else? There's something really dark here by Dr. Malone. Pandemic Postmortem, the truth versus the narrative with Dr. Robert Malone. So I think Jimmy Dore show with, Dr. Robert Malone. Dr. Robert Malone, Donald Trump is being swindled by Larry Ellison, mRNA vaccines, and AI. So basically all of this stuff on, YouTube by this quack, in my opinion, shows that this guy is one of many quacks that Elon Musk is going to be appointing to this panel of so-called experts. Let's see. He claimed earlier this year that without evidence that recent pediatric deaths from measles were because of medical errors and not because of, vaccine hesitancy. We have Vicky Pebsworth, Director in Research of Patient Safety at the National Vaccine Information Center, that is considered a leading source of misinformation about vaccine. Yukon researchers say anti-vax Facebook groups in early days of COVID-19 pandemic. Social media has become a powerful force for spreading misinformation and information. Anti-vaccine groups have established a strong presence on social media, like sites like Facebook. A pair of Yukon researchers recently found these groups quickly seized on COVID-19 as their next avenue of mongering fears over vaccines before the vaccine for COVID-19 even existed. Seth Couchman, professor of psychology, and Lisa Eaton, professor of human development and family sciences, published their findings of a study of anti-vaccine Facebook groups communications during the early days of the pandemic. They collaborated with University of Delaware colleagues Natalie Brousseau and Valerie Earnshaw. The researchers found anti-vaccine groups identified COVID-19 as a significant public health threat that would likely require a vaccine as early as February 2020. The study covered the period between February and May of 2020, yada, yada, yada. And basically they go on to say how this group, the National Vaccine Information Center, is a source, again, of misinformation when it comes to vaccines. Historically, members of the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, commonly known as ACIP, have undergone extensive vetting processes before they were appointed, and that could take months to years. The panel consists typically of 15 or more members. The meeting in 2 weeks will be about half the current size of what we would think or what we would expect. And according to NBC News, it's not clear whether or not they intend to appoint additional members. Department of Health and Human Services spokesperson Andrew Nixon said all newly appointed ACIP members were thoroughly vetted, whatever, but declined to offer specifics about the vetting process and how long it took. Regarding the qualifications of new members who have criticized vaccines, Nixon referred NBC News to Kennedy's comments on X. So yeah, Noel Brewer, an ACIP member who was fired last week. I don't know if it's ACIP or ACIP. I don't know which one's better, which one's the better pronunciation of it. There's no, I guess, really one way to pronounce an acronym correctly. The panel's charter requires members to be replaced on a rolling basis. The new panel is missing all of the expertise that has come before them, said Brewer, a professor in the Department of Health Behavior at University of North Carolina Gilling School of Global Public Health. They don't know how to go about looking at the evidence, how to think about the volumes of data that will be coming their way. Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious disease expert at Vanderbilt, similarly noted that it will be a big challenge for these new members because there will be a number of new issues to come up for votes. Unless they follow the deliberations from ACIP personally, they won't be up to date on those various issues. So basically, there's a meeting coming up on June 25th, and these people have no idea what has been talked about, up until this point. And we have a bunch of people who have no idea what they're talking about, or are completely biased against vaccines, who are going to be on this committee to determine whether or not vaccines should be approved for people. What could go wrong, right? Well, this is just one of the many reasons why enough is enough. We got screwed by Senator Bill Cassidy from Louisiana. We got screwed by him because he knew that RFK Jr. is not somebody who could have been taken seriously. Now, if he would have stood up and opposed RFK Jr., like he should have as the medical expert that he supposedly is, because, he has a doctor's degree. He is a medical doctor, after all, and he should understand why what RFK Jr. is doing is terrible for the health of the people of this country. But instead of just, going with his gut, when his gut told him that you can't trust RFK Jr. on issues pertaining to this because he's just plainly not trustworthy, he went ahead and believed the lie that was told to him that, when I make changes, I'll make sure to let you know, wink, wink, I'm sure he will. And of course he didn't, as we all expected him to not. And now what can we do? There's nothing we can do because one vote could have stopped him back then. Now you need many, many more to stop him. You can't just remove him anymore with a simple majority. He could have helped the filibuster if he felt that this is not going to be an appropriate choice, which he should have if he knows anything about the, profession of medicine, which you think he should, or he would, being that he is a doctor. But guess what? He doesn't give a rat's ass about public health. He only gives a rat's ass about his political career, something that's already at risk because there are many people gunning for him, proverbially, when it comes to wanting to replace him in the upcoming elections in 2026. Next year, we will have a closed primary system because Louisiana changed some of our primaries to closed primaries, and there are Republicans who are going to challenge him, and his only hope is that he finishes first of whatever field comes out there, and that the second place person is somebody who they would hate even less. They would hate even more, I guess, than Bill Cassidy. Otherwise, he has people coming for him. So this was likely his last term in the Senate. And he couldn't even do the right thing by making sure that the least amount of harm that could have been done was done. I mean, doctors are supposed to believe in do no harm, but in this case, he should have at least tried to prevent as much harm as possible, but he chose to put his political career before the health needs of this nation. And now we see what's happening by, the elimination of all of the experts and installing back people. And we'll go over everybody, I guess, maybe on a different show. Again, I wasn't having the best day today when it came to my health, so, and I'm not necessarily, didn't have too much time to go through this, but maybe next time, we will go over all of the names and and maybe he'll add more by that time, and we'll be able to go over more people. But we've discussed the first one, which should show you pretty much exactly where this is coming from. So, anyway, more of us getting screwed by this administration.